Hey, so Hard Knocks was last night, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh
All right.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I missed this one. I did not get to see it
Hey,
yet. I will
Jay.
be watching.
Dude,
Hey,
what
Jay.
are you
Go.
doing?
Dude, you
Please
missed the
tell me how it
drone?
It was pretty good, yeah. To Tony's point,
I
they
didn't see
did
it
a
either.
sweet little like drone shot of Jerry World, the entire place. They like go down. I'm assuming it's called like Jerry Jones Drive that leads up to this circle, and then they have all these like they have the numbers that are in the Ring of Honor, I think, like on the street with a little plaque next to them. And they go through the facility. It was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't mind it. Jerry and Big Mike both dropped some dimes. It was about time that they involved them a little more because. Last episode, there was not enough, Jerry.
Well, and we were talking about it out there this morning. Like, we all love Hard Knocks, but I think it's got to the point now, too. Like, Foxy mentioned it. Like, we see so much of the behind-the-scenes stuff. And, like, so you get, like, the first episode comes back, you hear the music, and it's like, oh, okay, here we fucking go. We're going to get Big Mike dropping a couple F-bombs. We'll be able to see some guys who we want to see. But then, in the end, it's still just... It's all preseason shit, and we're just ready for the regular season to get here. Like, they started it with that drone shot, which was incredible.
Unreal.
And also, I didn't realize, like, they have their indoor, I think where they practice indoors is also like a 15,000 seat stadium that schools in Texas play high school football there. So, like, it was, it was a pretty good episode. We got Jerry going up in the helicopter to their preseason game, and they forgot Steven somewhere, and Jerry said something along the lines of like, well, we might as well, start the day by fucking up. And so they had to turn around and go back and get him. Yeah, he said they went up there. He was, why don't you circle the stadium for me? And it was pretty cool, but, outside of those few moments, it just a lot of filler stuff.
I saw from Pat, did Big Mike have a lightning quote?
Yeah, so they were outside practicing, and the storms were rolling in, and he said, "Yeah, like there's too much money out there. I ain't fucking around with lightning." And then they went inside.
It was unreal. There was also a pretty cool segment where like the guy who runs the mailroom is like the fourth generation in his family to run the mailroom. Like his great grandfather did it, then his grandfather, then his father, and now his father brought him in. So they have like this legendary mailroom dude, and he was also playing cards with I think Micah, Zeke, and Dak, I believe.
Yep.
So it was a pretty good episode. Definitely better than the second one. But again, to Ty's point, it's preseason. Like, we get to see the behind-the-scenes stuff on social media now because they post so much of that shit. But no, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was good to see Jerry flying in a helicopter just saying the F-bomb. That's all you really want to hear out of Hard Knocks these days.
Well, don't you think it would be awesome if they did Hard Knocks and they followed them throughout the season? I believe Amazon did that, didn't they, with the Rams a couple years ago?
Yeah, they did it with the Rams, and then they did it again with the Cardinals and maybe the Panthers. It's called like All or Nothing or something like that.
So when Jeff Fisher gets fired,
What?
and they
Jeff Fisher got fired again?
I believe Jeff Fisher did get
he
fired,
got fired
on
that show. Yeah.
Oh,
Bad timing.
Jesus, you know Jeff Fisher?
Do I know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've met him. I've never played for him, but he's awesome. Why?
I don't know. He just seems like a sweet guy.
I visited Tennessee, brought me in for a visit before the draft, and I remember I showed up, and they're like, "Oh, we'll take you to Coach Fisher's office." I'm like, "Okay," and they took me there, and I sat down in his sweet office, and then he came strolling, and he's like, "Hey, sorry, man, I actually left. I was headed home for the day. I didn't know you were coming later or whatever." And he popped his feet up on his desk. He leaned back in his chair, popped his cowboy boots on the desk, and we just talked. He's like, "Yeah, we're going to take a quarterback, man. I'm not really sure why you're here." But,
that's unreal.
Who did they take?
They took Vince Young. And so it was that year. And I'm like, "Oh, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you bringing me in. Like, loved it. Good meeting you and talking to you and everything." So whenever I did cross paths with him, he was great. But their linebacker coach was the old Arizona State head coach and Coach Pat Tillman, and he took me out to lunch. It was the greatest.
Damn.
Dave McGinnis. The guy's amazing. And he just told me Pat Tillman stories all day. And we went to like a sweet Nashville barbecue spot. It was a great visit. Seemed like a real laid-back, fun place to be, actually.
Obviously, you wanted to play for the Packers your entire life, but were there any visits that you went on and you were like, damn, I would love to play for this guy. This guy is the man.
It's kind of like when you talk to any of those guys, usually like most of them, you come away with that. When it's like, it's not a recruiting process, but it's like you get them in a different setting where they're laid back, they're talking to you, and like that's usually not how they are as a coach. Mike Nolan was the head coach of the Niners. I visited out there. He was super cool, man. And I've kept in contact with him over the years. He was a very, very cool dude. Didn't work out great for him
Was he
during
wearing
my
a
time
suit?
early on in the league, but I like him. I have a lot of respect for him. And Detroit, Marinelli was the head coach when I visited.
thank
Detroit.
God
Yeah,
that didn't
that guy's
happen, huh?
amazing.
Was Nolan wearing a suit when he brought you in?
Surprisingly not. He was. You know what? No, you talk about a good dude. We went to lunch or something, and his car was valeted, and the guy brought his car, and Nolan was like, "Oh man," he's like, "I don't have any cash on me." He's like, "You ain't cash?" And I had like a $10 bill I gave him that he tipped the dude,
Cheapskate.
and a week later he sent me a thank you note with a $10 bill in it, pay me back.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Whoa.